Hey everybody, welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bello, and today I've got my buddy, Lu Becerra.
There you go.
I can't
roll
my
that tongue.
but for those listening, my buddy Lu, it's funny how we met. We actually met, we went to the Arete Syndicate live event, and I remember I recognized you because they were talking about Arete, and they're like, some people out here are so passionate about Arete and what it means that they even have a tattoo. And I remember you raised your arm up and like everyone could see that you had the Arete like logo on your arm.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
For what it meant. And I thought that was really cool. And my friend Safir and I, who I've also had on the show, we were heading back to Houston and we saw you at the airport at our terminal. And that's when we met. We started talking. We're like, dude, yeah, we saw you, raise your arm up and we're from Houston too. And so anyway, I don't want to take away the conversation. Lu, welcome to the show, man.
Man, thank you for having me on, man. I'm excited.
It's great to have you, dude.
It's pretty neat. Appreciate it.
We have a conversation like every week anyway at this point, so it kind of feels like we're catching up.
Yeah.
We're looking at we're doing some marketing, some direct mail marketing to find a first house to flip together. But you've got a lot of things going on the side on your own, and I've got some things going on as well. So go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Like, who are you? Father, husband?
All the above, man. Father of two beautiful young daughters. One is 2 years old. One is around 8 months old right now. Husband, I think I said that. I kind of been a serial entrepreneur since I was a little kid. I mean, I remember even just in Christmas times when I was like 9, 10 years old, my parents would ask me what would I want. I just wanted fake money to play businessman with.
Right.
So, and coming from an immigrant background, and being the first high school graduate in my family, the first college graduate in my family, and the first one to receive a graduate degree in my family. I feel like it was always my obligation to fill that piece. So I'm a professional as well. I still hold a 9 to 5, as they say, and I've always been used to hustling my real estate on the side and just coming up with side businesses on the side as well. So that's right now awesome. I got one for productivity, but we can get into that later. But yeah, I remember that time we met at the airport. It's weird how...
Like a lifetime ago?
Well, yeah, because that was in 2018, brother, and that's already 2 years. But I just think it's weird how things align. Like the fact that I happened to be in a terminal the same time you were on the same trip, and then that myself, and Safir clicked, and that we happen to have the same personalities. I mean, that was... Right. Yeah, mind-blowing. And I think you noticed this. I didn't notice it, but I don't know if it was you or Safir on the way back on the plane. You mentioned that the whole plane was knocked out sleeping, and there was only 3 people working on the plane. And it was you, Safir, and myself. Yeah. That
was amazing. I have it on my Instagram archive somewhere where I can go back and see it, but I remember like literally everyone was sleeping. I don't know what time. It was maybe an early flight or something, but everyone was taking a nap. All the shades were down. And you, me, Safir, we were hungry, like we were motivated. We just came off of that high of hearing motivating, inspirational stories and like, let's go get your goals, no excuses. And we were like writing notes, like what did we learn, right? I think we all were writing notes.
100%, yeah. So yeah, that and I was actually transposing my notes again because I love paper products and old analog style things. I feel it could be my age, who knows? but I just feel that I tend to retain stuff a lot better that way. So that's what I was doing on the plane that day. Either by working on the plane, we were doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing and not relaxing. I don't know, but I felt like we were doing the right thing there, man. That was pretty awesome. I don't know. Yeah. I just really, really enjoyed it. That was awesome. Pretty good.
And I think the thing that we clicked over and we were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like that's how you track your goals. This is how I track mine.
Oh yeah.
I have that online tracker where I have a daily task tracker and a goal tracker. And you had, it didn't even have a name, right? Did you have a name for it at the time? It was just
no. It was just the way that I did things. Yeah.
I love it. Actually, you've been doing that for years. You've been using a card and refining it front and back to track all kinds of things, right? For yourself.
Well, what I wanted to do with that was I didn't like carrying bulky planners, and I'm always about doing things the slimmest and most efficient as possible. So I designed a productivity planner on one sheet of paper back in front that I can tuck inside of a laptop or inside of a binder.
Take it with you when we go.
Bring it with me. And a lot of people, why don't you do it digital? It's because when I'm concentrating on my paper, nothing interrupts me. There's no way I'm going to get no distractions. And man, I think today I think we should talk a lot about productivity hacks. I mean, what do you do? What do I do? And
dude, I love it. I just wanted to share that because it's one other amazing thing, just like a shout out to you, but also the power of like a mastermind. And just at the airport, we kind of like geeked out about what we use to track our goals and our daily things. And we had some similarities there. I was more on the digital side. You had the paper product, which I can see the benefit of because there's so many distractions. Sometimes I go to open my goals and my mind wants me to open up Facebook, right? Just automatically. You can't do that on paper. But someone made the suggestion like, man, you should actually like create a product and sell it. And we're going to talk about that. But basically, you've already got your shipments from China. You turned it into a product. You built a website. You're doing Facebook ads and you're actually selling products. And if we could talk about that testimonial you recently got too, man, if you could read that off later.
I have it on my wall for sure.
I know you said the picture of it on your wall, but let's talk about some productivity. So you obviously have a lot of things going on and a family, so time is very important for you, right? So I'm sure getting organized was something that you started to look at for years now, and you have a project management certification as well, right? So you're already familiar with managing timelines and multiple deadlines, right? So is that kind of what got you started on the whole productivity thing?
Actually, no. I've just been a productivity nerd since even before I got my management certification, which I'm surprised you remember that. That just goes to show you people who your friends are. They know things about you. but yeah, so I started originally kind of like a lot of people do with getting things done. It's a book. It's a great book, but I still wanted something simpler.
Getting things done. I haven't read that one. Let me look it up.
I think it's Alan. His first name is Alan, the author. I can't remember his last name, or that might be his first name too. First or last name?
David Allen. Yeah,
David Allen.
Like two first names.
Yeah, there you go. Two first names. But yeah, I started with that, and a few years later, after I read that book, I've been in real estate since 2007 or 8. So with going to school, getting my graduate degree, and working at that time, everything was so confusing. So I started to just write things down on a regular sheet of paper. And that's ironically how I got things in order. And I am, as you know, I'm very techie. I love tech. I adore it. I always find tips and tricks on how to do things. I'm on top of the newest technology. However, for me, when it comes to my organization, it's definitely... For me, it needs to be on paper. By the time you met me...
You were showing us your Evernote in your... Well, actually, not Evernote. You were using OneNote. Tons of notes. You took notes from the whole Arete event. You shared it with us. I was like, man, this guy's got everything documented.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes, I even know how many cents, as in pennies, I spend per day.
Oh, yeah. I saw the finance guy, the tracking of what comes in, what goes out. I was like, dang, I don't even know what happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, man, I know it seems like a lot that I keep track of, but I try to do so in the most efficient way. And even in my relationship, usually, when people get married, you hear mostly that it's usually the wives that take care of the finances. She has seen my spreadsheets and everything that I do, that she's just like, okay, just take care of it. It's like, all right, fine. It's already, I got macros and everything built into Excel. Like, it's done, ready to go.
And by macros, you don't mean like macronutrients. You mean like the macros as in like automation, and you recorded. I don't know if you know how to code it. I knew how to do a macro in Excel just from clicking record and then doing the thing, and then it would like...
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, right?
That's what I mean. You have a button where you can click it, and it does that sequence. It's super cool. Cool nerdy.
Right, the nerdy macros, not the healthy macros.
Yeah, not food macros. Because every time I'm like, if it fits your macros, but we're talking about Excel macros, which is just for the audience to know there's a distinction.
Well, Chris, I respect you and your productivity so much. Let's jump back and forth on what's the latest productivity thing.
Bro,
I can kick off. Ooh, look at your hands, rubbing your hands together.
Ooh. No, this is cool because we're going to share like best practices from what we've most recently learned, right?
For sure. I can go first, or you can go first. Your call.
Okay, I guess you go first. You're the guest. Go ahead.
All right. The latest productivity hack that I've picked up is for social media, right? Now, it depends. If you're an influencer, this may not work for you if you're someone that makes your money on social. But if you're your typical business person that doesn't post too much online, or just, it doesn't take it as a career to post online, I've taken all my social apps off of my cell phone, and I only access them through my computer. So when I'm out and about with the family, with friends, or even at the meetings, this last meeting that I got with you, you noticed that I couldn't look anything up, but I did it, it's with purpose, and it's been a blessing. Like getting things done, even at work, works phenomenal. Getting things done at home works phenomenal.
You're probably like going to open up your phone and you're like, well, I don't have the apps. Like, never mind, I'm not going to do it, And
right. On top of that, my stress has gone down so much because I'm not worried about what's going on around me. Just I'm being selfish with myself, and I just worry about me. And I feel like I'm back in the 90s, which I know some people are like, oh, wow, I was born in the 90s. So, yeah, well, back then it was a lot more calm.
That's a good hack. And I know that's kind of like more hardcore because, like, I've seen The Social Dilemma. I know the challenges with it. And I do produce a lot of content. Like, a lot of my business comes through that. I never know when it's going to come, but someone watches a story or sees a post and they reach out about something that I can help them with. But, yeah, I mean, I do find myself spending quite a bit of time on those apps, and I try to be productive. I'm constantly like, let me engage with people and find real estate people that I can talk to and meet. But you do end up scrolling longer than you intend, and you waste more time.
Right. If you can like take that time, like and set blocks of time, kind of like the time blocking you do.
Yeah.
And just set a time block to open the laptop and do your social. That could work. Now, for you being a real estate agent, I don't know if it's really good for you specifically, because sometimes you like to tell the story while you're at one of the homes you're at.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on your style. It really just depends, right? What's your focus? Is social media a tool for you or mostly a distraction? For most people, I guess most people in my audience may be using it more as a tool for their businesses or whatever, if they're self-employed. But for many people in the world, like, it's more of a distraction and like I'm bored, let me scroll through Facebook. You don't think,
exactly,
I need business, let me make new posts. Most people are like, I want to see what so-and-so is doing today, right?
Yeah. And then I've had conversations with people that are like, well, I've got Facebook ads. It's like, well, me too, but I don't know about you, but I'm not as productive on a small screen when I'm updating my Facebook ad as when I'm on a laptop. Computer. Yeah, so there's no excuse for that. I'm really honestly trying to make my social media a tool more than it is to stay social. What about yours? What's your latest and greatest?
So one of my hacks, I know you mentioned it right there, is time blocking. And if anyone downloaded my free guide, chrisbello.com/free, that my freebie is 5 productivity hacks I recommend, which honestly, I've created that over a year or so ago. I have way more hacks since then that I do. So time blocking is one of the ones I have on that guide, I believe, if I remember. I haven't looked at it in a while. But just being able to be intentional and say, I'm setting a timer for 30 minutes. I'm going to focus on this one task until the beeper goes off. Mm-hmm. And when it goes off, sometimes you're in flow state, right? You want to do more. Like, let me do 5 more minutes. You have to be honor your schedule. When that thing goes off, if you're sending one more email or making one more DM for social media purposes, it's like one more, finish it, send. Even if you want to do more, you're like, oh, this is going so well. You have to learn to do that, because when you do that, you respect your time and you respect other people's time, because time's very important, right? You don't want to be late to appointments. And I apologize. Like, we got on FaceTime. I couldn't even figure out my Zoom password. And so we FaceTimed. And I was outside of a bank because I just had a deal closed for real estate. So I was a little bit late to our appointment. And thank you for understanding.
No worries.
I was like, look, let me just drive to WeWork and record this because I want to make sure it's good content. But time blocking, and sometimes you can't know for sure, right? Like my real estate deal, the closing was at 2:30. It got a little delayed, and then it was like 3:40, and now it kind of interrupted my next appointment to an extent. So you've got to have a little bit of flexibility, but many times you can use time blocking to be efficient with whatever the task is at hand.
So I'm going to ask you this.
Yeah.
What do you do? What is your process whenever you do overlap on your activities? Do you try to just regroup, or I'm curious to see what you say.
Yeah. So fill up my calendar pretty fast. I'll constantly, hey, you want to go see houses? Let me look at my calendar. I can't. I got a lunch at 12. I've got this at 2, a podcast interview at 4. Can you do 9 or 10 a.m.? And like, yes, okay, let's go look at houses. I'll go show. And then sometimes like I'll let the next person know if I know it's going to be close. Like the other day, I agreed to show houses to a client at 9:30. He wanted to go at 10. I was meeting a friend for an early lunch at 11. And so I was like, that's going to be too close. Can you do houses at 9:30? And so we did. And we looked from 9:30 to 10:30. But I told my friend, hey, I'm showing houses real quick. I got just 3. I don't think I'll be late, but just a heads up.
That's a good tip to just give people a heads up. Actually,
so that way they're not surprised, right? When you're like, hey, I'm going to be 10 minutes late, they're not as upset.
Yeah, and I think I've done this with you where I'm like, okay, I'm 8 minutes away, I'm 5 minutes away. I just like to give people status updates.
Yeah.
Right.
That's much better than just like, hey, where are you? And another thing, I mean, I do a lot of calls from the car, so since we're doing a podcast interview, I wanted to make sure I have a good setup. But if it was just a catch-up call, we could have totally done FaceTime, and that would have been fine. And so in that example, I actually ended up finishing showing homes pretty fast. I think I finished by 10:15, and I was close to the Chipotle that we were going to meet up at. And I just connected. I have data on my phone where I can connect my computer to the internet through my phone. And right. I sat outside of Chipotle for 45 minutes because I was there early. You know, I was like, there's nowhere else I'm going to really go. Starbucks is still kind of closed on the inside, so I can't go sit there. And that way I was still on time. So I was still working for my car when I saw him park. And then I just like closed up my laptop, put my bag in my trunk, and spent 2 hours getting lunch with a good old friend, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm very similar to you. If I have meetings with people, I try to let them know. I always try to fulfill the original duration of a meeting.
Yeah, you're really
with the previous person first. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Because you'll let us know, the mastermind group, like, hey, guys, I'm running a little late or whatever. I'll be there at 6:15 instead of 6. And we're like, cool.
Right.
And usually we're still, like, getting settled down and getting started, you know, anyway, so you don't really miss much, but at least you're letting people know.
Right. And I think that's one thing that a lot of younger individuals that are first going into the workforce, they forget to, or they don't understand that it's just polite to just let someone know you're going to be late. As long as you don't do it all the time, but trust me, your people who you work for are really, really going to appreciate that.
It's funny. So, I was going to say I tried to get a job like when I was kind of doubting myself and not sure that the thing was going to work.
I remember those days, yeah.
And I went to Kinder Morgan or something downtown, and I parked somewhere and I got lost, and I was late to the interview. I was like, I'm not getting this job. They interviewed me still, but I already knew deep down. They're like, man, I was like 10 minutes late. It was bad.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get the job, which thank goodness, because I wouldn't have been here, you know, in real estate talking to you. I'd be in that job right now probably.
Good thing you're late.
Good thing I'm late, man. Good thing I was late. What if I was still there? I'd be capped my salary. I'd get like a little 2% bonus maybe, whereas I just deposited my 4th commission check this month. Bam!
Man, you're kicking butt. I remember we're in a mastermind group and you're having conversations about, man, I think I'm about to start driving Uber.
Dude, I was like, literally, I don't know what to do to fill the gap. I don't want to go get a job. Should I scrape together some money with Uber? I probably would have to drive like 10 hours a day to make $500 a week or something. I don't even know the numbers, but thank you.
But it probably would have filled in the gap for you, you know. I mean, getting a job with Uber in the meantime, at least you didn't give in and go get, you know, just a job for that. But man, so you know what? What do you think about the mastermind group, man? I've loved it. Like for me, it's actually very comparable to Arete.
Yeah, no, I love it. And you and I are part of the what we call OG MMG, like the original group of mastermind. We kind of started a mastermind in Houston, unofficial. We don't charge. We brought like-minded people together, and it's like 6 of us, like the core group. You, me, Milo, Mario, and Dom, right? And Saphir, right?
Right.
So it's just us, and a few other people have come and gone, but that group has been so awesome because we always meet for 3 hours, and it's hard to stop and like leave.
Yeah, well, we schedule for 1 or 2. It's like you sometimes 3 or 4 hours later.
Always 3, like 3.5, and then I'm like, oh man, I'm hungry. It's late. It's like 9:30. We got a lot of people got families they got to go back to, kids.
Right.
So that's been really helpful, man. But all right, so your first productivity hack and my first productivity hack. What's your second? We can just do like 5 or something each, maybe. Yeah.
So my second one is actually Pomodoro technique, and for those that aren't familiar with it, Pomodoro is Italian for tomato. Okay, what does that have to do with productivity? Well, the guy that came up with this had a tomato kitchen timer, and he would set it for 25-minute intervals, and he would have 4 intervals with a 5-minute break in between each. So it totals out to 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
So after you hit that 2-hour mark, in other words, 4 Pomodoros, you then take a 30-minute break session. And for me, that works phenomenal. During that time, I will turn off all notifications on my phone. Obviously, I don't have any social media, but as far as text messages and emails, and I've actually, sometimes when I have to really concentrate, I will do an automatic bounce back reply in my Outlook, my email, that says basically something like, I'm in a dungeon, or I will get back to you after such time working on a project. That way, people that email me during that time, usually in the mornings, they know right away that, hey, it says shoot me an email, and instantaneously they'll get an email back that says, I'll get back with you today after 1 o'clock.
I like that.
Yeah, and you can even disguise it a little bit, especially if you're working corporate. You just say, I'll get back to you today after 1 o'clock after my meeting. What's your meeting? Your meeting's with yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yeah. I tell clients all the time, hey, I've got an appointment at that time. My appointment might be a 1-hour massage, right?
100%. And if you work in corporate, go ahead and block out your time on your corporate calendar and just label it busy or meeting. That little hack on that, if you label it busy with a capital B, a lowercase USY, when other people see your calendar, if it's network connected, and if no one really shares the details of their meetings, they'll just assume it's a meeting.
Exactly. So they won't know what kind of meeting it is. I mean, there's so many meetings. And Tim Ferriss talks about the 4-hour work week. Like half the time he thinks most meetings could be an email, and they really can be, right? Like there's meetings, like what did we talk about in the last meeting? Let's meet about that. Okay, next time we're going to meet about what we should do next. It's like, gosh, it's so inefficient, right?
100%. That's so true. Actually, today I had a meeting that I personally set up for today at 1 o'clock. And then I canceled it, and then I sent an email with a very, very descriptive status update of where we were, because that was all it needed to have. Right? That's all we needed to have, and I saved myself 30 minutes.
Boom.
It just took me about 4 to 5 minutes to write that email done, and I'm sure everyone else appreciated it. Got a few emails back saying, "Okay, sounds great. We'll just touch base again next week." Perfect.
Yeah. So I guess. Can I go do my next productivity?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
This is really cool because usually it's like interview style. It's always conversational on the show, but I like how we're kind of doing back and forth like a talk show type thing.
Yeah, so pretty cool. And I apologize if I get some background noise back here. I got my kids.
No worries, man. It's funny. Everyone's getting used to it with COVID, like distractions and everyone being at home, and like a little bit of background noise is totally understandable. But kind of going off the email or the meeting thing, how it could have been an email, my tip and my hack that I've been doing lately is I also put my phone on Do Not Disturb oftentimes, and I'll block unknown numbers. So I will go ahead and do that. And another thing that I do is I put on my voicemail, hey, I'm busy or I'm not able to answer the phone. I'm helping a client right now. If you send me a text or go to this certain link, it'll redirect you to a link tree. I don't say link tree, but it's basically a link tree where it's got 8 links. Like you can book a call with me, book a Zoom call with me, check out my listings, all that stuff. Are you relocating?
No, I'm trying to mute because I got the kids back here. Sorry about that, brother.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's all good.
I'm listening.
I appreciate that, man. No, so that's my hack is just tell people on your voicemail if you get a lot of calls or have an assistant as your gatekeeper, and that's kind of where I need to be, where I want to have someone vet the calls and be like, okay, this isn't worth Chris's time. This is a small, I can answer this, or this is a big decision, high dollar, let me send this through to Chris, right? I wrote that down the other day. I'm the CEO of Chris Bello. You don't just get to freaking call a CEO, right? You got to talk to an assistant. Sometimes you got
I like that.
Or gatekeepers, right?
I'm going to steal that one.
Dude, I was like, I'm the CEO of Chris Bello. Like, you shouldn't be able to easily get to me unless I want you to. Like, not that, I don't know. The other day I had it on my story.
Because, you have what you're good at. You're good at building your business. And you may not be necessarily, not you particularly, but just in general, good at designing a website or having something an assistant can do for you, so you want to protect your time. And actually, I'm going to positively counter what you just said about Do Not Disturb. Oh, got the kids in the background.
Man, kid doesn't like what you're about to say.
She doesn't like what I'm about to say. She said, don't do it, Daddy. But what I was going to say is a lot of people don't know this, but on the particularly the Apple phones, and tell me if it gets a little bit too loud. We could take a quick break. You know what? Give me a second. We might have to cut this.
Edit this part out. That's cool. We'll take a break.
Hold on.
I'll just trim this part out, man. Go ahead.
All right, just hang tight. Let me just
I might eat a cookie real quick.
Go for it. All right. Let's see. Got audio back on. Okay. Just let me know when you're ready. Luckily, I did not lose my train of thought. Let me just shoot this message here back to you.
Yeah, man, go ahead. I'm just gonna take one more bite of my cookie. We can
go for it. All right, I'm ready when you are, brother.
All right, let's get back into it.
All right, so I was gonna, before we had the interruption there, which is proof of my hectic life. Right? You were mentioning about protecting your time. So on the iPhone, especially the new, I'm sure it works the same way in Android. You just have to find the method. But there's this do not disturb while you're driving setting. But you can set it up and do a custom message on that do not disturb while you're driving. And while you're working, you need to not be disturbed, even if you're home. Place that setting in place with your custom message, and people will get a message as soon as they text you. So that can be, I'm in a work session, I'm in a meeting with the CEO, aka yourself, like you were saying.
Love it.
And the moment someone sends you a text, then bada bing, bada bang, they'll get another message right back says you'll get to them as soon as you can, basically. So that works really well too. So if you want to set that up on your Apple phone, that'll be great.
Love that. That's a great tip, man. So was that kind of going off of what I was, or do you want to do another?
Yeah, it was going off of you. Kind of triggered my thought process on that when you said about protecting your time and then having the. I was going to say this is great for the person that doesn't have a digital assistant like you do, or an assistant that actually, a live person like you do. So I don't have an assistant. A lot of my workflows I haven't been able to automate yet, which I'm still trying to learn from you, brother. But yeah, so that's what I do since I don't have an assistant.
Awesome, man. Well, do you want to go ahead and do another productivity tip since that was kind of just like feeding off of mine? or do you want to count that one? I'll go if you want.
No. I got another one.
I know we got tons of them.
Oh, yeah. So another one is you mentioned time blocking, right?
Yep.
So I like to always do 2-hour time blocks with my Pomodoro. So I'll always try to make that in the morning, get that out of the way. So then I try to set up most of my meetings between 1 and 3, right? And then after 3, I try to throw in another time block. So that one's another one of mine there. And that one's really worked really well for me.
Awesome. So my next, and this is, I think I shared this at our mastermind meeting this last couple of weeks, this month. And my biggest combination right now, like I love Zoom. Zoom's been great. And I have that integrating with Calendly.
Yeah. People, listen to this, people. This one's amazing. This one's really good.
It's game changer, man. So my Calendly right now, and I pay $10 a month for it. I don't have an affiliate link. Like I don't get paid to promote it. I just found it. And I know there's other booking links like Acuity scheduling and stuff. But I just started using Calendly. It was very simple. And I've got different types of events depending on what I want to do, right? So I just stepped back and I updated the times even more because I was thinking like, hey, what's my ideal schedule? Because I don't want people to be able to book a phone call with me at like 7:50 p.m., which my schedule was letting happen. Like it was late calls or on Saturdays or Sundays. And I even went so far as to say like, okay, my highest dollar activities are talking to buyers and sellers. I'm willing to do 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Because people have work, they need to talk after work, that's fine. I even had it available on Friday, and I actually just removed Friday. I was like, I don't want anyone to book anything with me on Fridays. No offense. I know we got our thing booked today, but it has since changed, so nothing is booked on Friday.
So why did you go down that route? Why no Fridays? What's the insight on that?
So I did have a closing today, which like I had to go to, which is great because I get a commission check and paid. But I just want to be able to schedule more time for fun, Like I want to be like, hey, this Friday I got nothing. I'm going to go skydive and like, refresh my license and jump like 3 or 4 times, or I'm going to go, mountain bike a trail, like things like that. Maybe more spend some alone time, thinking time, like recharging, because my girlfriend she's at work all day on Friday. I'm kind of solo, but instead of just packing my calendar full of so many things, why don't I schedule more blocks in there of nothing just to like try something new, figure out what is it that
recharge time. Yeah.
Recharge, yeah. But I guess the main hack here is just to do Calendly and to really think through. Like I wrote it down in my journal. I have it here. I was brainstorming last night. And even podcasts, I had podcast interviews available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Of course, I gave you the Premier Friend link where you could book anytime. I'm open to talking to you on other days.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. But I wrote down like my ideal weekly schedule. Instead of booking on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I want to just do 2 podcasts on a Tuesday and be done for the week. That way, when I sit down and I set up my camera and my mic, I can have like 2 podcasts in one session instead of like 1 podcast and then 1 on Thursday, right? So that's how I updated it. I have consultations Monday through Thursday and on Saturday, because I know Saturday, the weekend, you can get business. But no one can book me on Sunday either. So Fridays and Sundays, I'm unbookable. And it's beautiful because the last few weekends, I've had nothing on the weekends. I'm like, my dad was like, you're a realtor who doesn't do stuff on the weekends. That's awesome. And I'm like, and I'm having my best month. How crazy is that?
Well, yeah, I think that when people meet you actually in person and, you know, working for them as a realtor, they see the kind of person you are. And I think that really helps. But to kind of piggyback on yours a little bit before I give mine.
Yeah,
because I'm not allowed to cheat anymore. That recharging thing is extremely important. So, like, I've been on 75 hard here again for the next round, and I've noticed that when I do something for me first, it puts me in a positive state of mind.
Yes.
And man, it really bleeds in a positive way. I know bleeding is kind of
into your work.
Negative. Yeah, it bleeds into your work in a positive way. It just works exceptionally well. And then in the last mastermind group, so I'm going to give 2 quick tips here, was I block out Sundays absolutely 100% for family. Nothing gets done for work on Sundays. And that's been great because it really does help you connect a little more with your family, which when you're a very busy individual, things can get a little rough if you don't allow that to happen. The next one is, so a lot of questions that I've gotten, well, first of all, the mastermind group people, just so y'all know, was the birthplace of Simply Squirrel, which is my productivity business, because I just saw it as something that I used to do. I just did it for myself, and you guys were impressed with it enough, and being that I saw this every day, I just looked at it like, it's okay, it's cool. I guess kind of like when you have a sibling.
He's all right.
Notice, he's all right. When other people meet him,
you got like an awesome sibling, but like to you, you're like, he's not that good. You don't know, you can't lift that much weight.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so that kind of sparked the idea. Next thing you know, I taught myself how to build a website, taught myself Shopify, taught myself Facebook ads. But one of the things that I have on my Simply Squirrel desk pad is the Eisenhower Matrix. And it's cool. It's a 4-column matrix. And actually, let me pull it out here.
Yeah, pull it up. I mean, you can just kind of hold it in front of the camera. If you're watching on YouTube, you can check it out. If not, you can definitely go check out his website.
I don't know if it'll focus on there too well, but it's basically 4 quadrants.
I like it. I can see it.
Well, maybe we can include a link or something so people can check it out at the store. But
for sure,
you have your left 2 squares out of the 4 that are for urgent, and the right 2 are non-urgent, and then horizontally is important and non-important at the bottom. The way that I designed for this to work is that everything that's on the urgent side is stuff that you need to do this week. So if it works like a multiplication table, the Eisenhower Matrix, and you can Google this anywhere. It's not an original idea of mine. Clearly, it's Eisenhower from President Eisenhower, so I can't take credit for it. But if something is both urgent and important, then you have to do it first. If it's not that urgent, but it's still important, which you may have to do it next week or in a month, but it has to get done, but not right now, then you put it in quadrant 2, which is in the top right hand corner. If it's urgent, but it's not really that important, but you kind of need to get it done this week at some point, but not at this moment, then it goes on the bottom left-hand quadrant. And then if it's not urgent and it's not important, then it just needs to be eliminated, and that goes in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah.
So whenever people have asked me, I've got a few emails from customers, they're like, I don't know where to start. And I'm like, start right there. If you, how can I put this? If you are even just trying to make an ad hoc to-do list at home, just make 4 quadrants. Just dump everything onto those quadrants using those rules of the Eisenhower Matrix. So go look it up if you need something more concrete to read from. And that right there will tell you right away what you need to get done today. Not only that, but if you dump all of your to-do activities, including projects, in those quadrants for home and personal on the same sheet of paper, don't separate it. That's another trick. You want to do it all in one. You'll feel a lot better because you have it all written down, and then you can start attacking. The first few weeks that anyone starts on a new to-do list journey or planner journey, it's tough because you have so much. It takes a few weeks or a couple months to catch up and get used to it and learn the process. And I think you know this. And once you do catch up, you're like, oh wow, I actually don't have that much left to do. But the trick is to actually get things done.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
man. So can I chime in on that too?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. That's we're just going back and forth today, right?
Yeah, I love it. We're just kind of feeding off of each other's ideas, and I mean, we already, just like when we met at that airport, we were excited because I saw the first version of Squirrel before it was even called Squirrel, and before you simplified it further and you added the Eisenhower, it looked a little different. We were already feeding off of each other's energy, and I was like, oh, I track mine in Google Sheets, and this is how I do it, and I kind of use Andy Frisella's like win or loss, and I have different parts of different things like a Frankenstein, just like you've got different tools in your Squirrel card.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm just happy to feed off of each other. But like what you
said. That's why these mastermind meetings last hours.
Oh, man, the mastermind meetings are awesome because it's like you get a little nugget, you hear from somebody, and then you want to chime in, and then 3.5 hours later, we're like, all right, guys, we got to call it a day.
All right, we got to go.
But we always have ideas of things we can implement in our business and go further with. But
100%.
Kind of going off what you said there with just getting it down on paper, I'm very ADD. Like a lot of entrepreneurs are very like ideas. So many things you could do. I mean, Squirrel.
There's
that's why
nothing wrong with that.
Squirrel. You named it Squirrel because it's like you're so distracted all the time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So one tip that I do is I'm just get it out on paper. Like if it. You know how it bugs you if you think of something and now you feel like you need to do it right away? You just need to write it down or get it out somewhere so you know it's okay to move on with whatever I'm going to do next because I'm not going to forget about it. I put it down on paper, on a sticky note, somewhere. And so I use Asana. That's a tool that I use. It's like checklists, and I'm using the free version. I've got all different checklists for my podcast editing process, my real estate transactions, and different people, different virtual assistants have access to different folders. And if I think of a task, I just add to Asana, or I'll even email myself sometimes. Like say I'm at the gym, I'll open up my email and I'll hear like a nugget on a podcast that I'm like, I have to do that. That's a great idea. I'll just compose an email, send it to myself. Bonus, there's like a double hack in here. I have a rule where any emails from myself or from certain individuals, if it comes from Chris Bello, like my email address, or someone else's email address that I think is important, like a client, it'll
a rule inside your email manager. Okay.
Yeah, I have rules in place, so it'll star the email, and then I have my email sorted by like starred first, so it'll pop up to the very top of everything else. All the other random stuff that's probably promotional and newsletters and just like I want to look through it, but it's probably not important, it's automatically filtered to the bottom of the list where only the important things that have to do with deals, previous clients, prospects that may turn into clients, that goes to the top. So I'll email myself these ideas. Like I'll hear something, I open the email to myself, and I'm like, look up real estate masterminds, like, do this with your business card, or stop giving business cards. Like any tips that I hear, I will email it to myself. So when I get to my computer later, like an hour or two later, I'm like, cool, I can add that into Asana or delegate it. Or maybe 2 hours later, I'm like, you know what? That's actually a distraction. I'm going to delete it. I don't need to do that.
Right. And I think this is where you have to draw the line and figure out what your personality type is, right? So clearly you're digital, and that's nothing wrong with that,
I
right?
love digital, yeah.
Right. That's what works for you. So,
but I do written too. Here's my sticky note with how many social media engagements I've done today.
Yeah. Like for me, I use the reminders app in my phone just because I need something super fast and quick. So if you say something like, I don't know if my phone will turn on, but it said, "Hey Siri, remind me to," and then it'll pop up. Knock that off. But if you just say, "Hey Siri," and then remind me to do this or do that, there it goes again. Anyways, it shows up as a reminder on your reminder. So my reminders app that I have on my phone, I use strictly for just things that are ad hoc that need to be transferred later onto my paper system.
Right.
You do it on the other way where, because your system is digital with is it Asana you said?
Asana, yeah. ASANA.com.
Asana. Since it's digital with that, you need it to be able to go and funnel to end up on the digital format. So I think that's what people need to figure out.
Right.
What do I prefer?
What's your style?
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with different styles. Clearly you're successful, I like to think I'm successful too.
Yeah, no, we're all successful in our own way, and it's all relative too, right? Like
right.
Compared to this time last year when I was like, damn, I got like 20 grand in credit card debt and like I'm not making any money, to now where it's like I made over 20 grand in a month, like sweet. Or actually in a day. I keep bragging about it, but pretty soon I like to think that in 2-3 years you and I are going to be talking about how we made 200 grand in a month.
Oh yeah. Dude,
I talked to John Lee Dumas. You know John Lee Dumas with Entrepreneurs on Fire?
Right.
I talked to him yesterday on my podcast for 15 minutes.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you were going to interview him or something like that.
Yeah, not, I don't feel that special because he's so good at time blocking, man. He does 37 back-to-back 15-minute interviews to get on other shows. Mm. Like, that's how busy he is.
And then I guess the secret is he has some sort of assistant help him break it all down, and then you have several assistants to put it on podcasts.
Maybe
see, that's the thing. Like, I think a lot of people,
is this a good podcast for you to go on, or is it a waste of time?
Right, and I think a lot of people that are trying to be productive and can't seem to figure it out is because they don't understand that sometimes things involve a system. So, what I've learned, the true definition of a system is it has to have an input, and then it also has to provide an output.
Yep.
So if your quote-unquote system is not giving you an output, it's not a system. It's a waste of time. So, you got your system set up. That guy that has his 30-something podcast, he's got his system. And until he closes that loop so that it can continue to go in circles, it's not going to be a system that works for him. So,
absolutely.
I mean, I think that's the biggest thing missing from people.
It's all systems, man.
Yeah, it's all systems. People are missing. Right, they're also missing, one, the system, and two, understanding themselves, and that just takes time to figure out. And it's frustrating when you listen to one method, one way of doing things, and it's just not working for you. And it's not working for you because you're not wired that way.
Yeah,
it's not until you find the right one. You know? And am I ready for my next tip, or was it?
Yeah, let's go. Next tip. So let's go.
next tip. So for me, is the first item you need to do is the one that you don't want to do.
Oh, I hate that. I know, but it's just like, I don't want to do it. Can't I just not do it for 3 weeks?
You know what I found with that, Chris, is that a lot of times that one item that you wanted to do ended up being so much easier than you thought. Am I wrong? Has that been your experience?
Right. Well, also because if you eat the frog, I think Brian Tracy says eat the frog, which is like do that thing that you don't want to do first. You have the most mental clarity and energy. If you leave it for the end when you're tired, it's going to be worse, right? And it feels good when you get it out of the way.
Right, and especially after you do something for yourself first, like if it's your morning routine, your walk, or if your morning routine is cooking your breakfast, and after you do that and you feel good, or if your morning routine is getting your coffee, or what you can do is promise yourself not to make your coffee until you get that first activity done.
Ooh, now you're like, I love that. You're going to give yourself a reward after you get that thing done.
Right. So me, as you know, I stopped coffee when I started my 75 hard journey. Just cold turkey stopped it. But back then, I would not allow myself to have my first cup of coffee until after I finished planning my day in the morning. Wow. So by me getting that coffee was like, okay, my day's planned and I'm ready to get on it and get going. So I think you got a few bonuses on that one there. I think it's your turn.
For sure. That's a great for lots of tips. Awesome. And it's hard, like going off the coffee thing, I would have never thought of that because I'm like, I'm just going to make a coffee, you know, like, but to think that, yeah, you enjoy that little coffee in the morning and to hold yourself from that until you accomplish something. And of course, it's mental discipline. No one's going to be there to know if you did it or not, but you'll know.
Right. But I think the secret to mental discipline, like Andy Frisella says, you know, we both follow Andy and Milet and all those gurus, you know, or they don't like to be called gurus. Anyways.
They're very knowledgeable leaders.
Yeah, if they hear this podcast, they're like going to cancel us. Anyways.
Oh, they call us a guru. All right. You're kicked out of Arete.
Yeah, they're. You know what? I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
You were saying all these productivity people, we follow them. And I'm bad at this too, where I'm just like, I don't know.
You see, it has something to do with the, let's go back. Sure enough, people listening to this, like, oh, geez, you were talking about this.
Because then it's not fair because the people listening can just rewind it 30 seconds and they know what we're talking about, but we're still live on this call, so we can't.
So we were at getting the coffee first, doing yourself.
Discipline. 75 hard.
Discipline. The secrets of discipline. Yes. Okay. The secrets of discipline. See, we came back full circle. It's a system.
We're like looking for clues, like coffee, 75 hard, Andy Frisella.
Yeah. So what I've learned is, like, for example, the coffee example, right? The more, and this applies to 75 hard too. For those of you who have done it, I finished it once before. I just decided to do it again. Is the more that you keep your promises to yourself, for example, the coffee, the more often you do that, like the better, it gives you more confidence.
Life is better.
Right. I've read that if you keep and retain your promises to yourself above all, that's how you build confidence. That's how you don't have to rely on your confidence on social media or on anyone else but yourself. So that's basically what I guess, slightly off topic, but that's what 75 hard teaches you, is to be, I guess, not disrespectful of yourself. And what I mean by that is don't disrespect yourself by not respecting yourself. I know it sounds like kind of convolutive, but it's true. The more you keep your promises to yourself, like the more confidence you have, the more positive energy you have, and the easier your days will be. They'll just flow. And I think you've noticed that whenever, like, your days when you're better. When you're hot with your customers and you're like getting things done and, you know, making money and getting checks, that check is your proof for you, Chris. Tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah, tell me if I'm wrong, that you kept your promise of yourself that you were going to do what you have to do.
Bam.
To earn that check.
And if you lie to yourself, if you can't keep the promises to yourself, then like anytime you set a goal, deep down you're going to know, I'm not going to do what it takes to make this happen. But if you keep the promises to yourself and you keep on stacking the wins and you get the checks that show, like, yes, I did the steps, I actually did the work, and here's my reward, it becomes like you're unlocking new superpowers, because then next time I'm like, I'm going to do that, or I'm going to learn that.
Yeah, because you have a little bit of extra confidence.
Dude, I'm like cocky. I'm like, I'm dead serious. Like, I'm not playing.
No, 100%. And for a lot of people, the coffee, I guess, I don't know if I want to call it experiment, but or technique or process of not getting your first cup of coffee until you finish your first item or until you plan your day. Start there, you know. And then if you, like the power list that a lot of people talk about, if you, no matter what, if you write 3 things down that you're going to do for the day before you go to bed, whether it's at 1 a.m., if you get those 3 things done, trust me, it feels good. Like you get a lot of positive energy from that. So that in itself is a great productivity hack, I think, because we've been talking back and forth, it builds your confidence in yourself and your self-esteem and all that great stuff.
I love it. So were we on your bonus or your tip or mine? I can't remember if we were just like talking about one, or was that your tip?
I don't know. I think I'll take that as my tip. I'll give it a few right there. That kind of works. Yeah.
This is going to be really funny to listen back on and be like, what was the tip again? Because we just talked about like 3 minutes of value there. So I guess we could do a couple more, because I think we're kind of approaching the hour, and I got to run a couple of errands. I got to put a notice to vacate. I'm like hoping the tenants don't shoot. They're getting 3 days to get out of that apartment, and I got to put the sign on the door. So I'm like, I'm going to hide and just like stick it on the door and run.
Yeah. Wear a mask so they can't identify you.
Wear a mask like all the way up like this. So I got to do a couple of little errands after this, and I might take the girlfriend out for dinner to celebrate, you know, another deal being closed. Yeah, but yeah, we can do another tip or two here just for our audience, because I mean, I always This is like our mastermind group. I can never stop the conversation, you know? I could talk here for another hour. But I'd say my next tip that I've been implementing is, so I've talked about Calendly, Zoom, we've talked about time blocking, Pomodoro technique. I really like what you said about writing things down. Like I have a sketchbook. I heard this tip from an entrepreneur named Miles Beckler. I follow him. And he said he uses a sketch pad. So I literally have a sketch pad that has no lines or anything.
Oh, okay. So what's the point? Like, what's the I guess the science behind that?
So he was thinking like, hey, I don't want to be confined within the lines, right? Like I want to be able to draw pictures or arrows or draw big or small, you know? So like the other day I was just talking to somebody and I drew like these triangles and he was talking about lifestyle and work. And I was able to draw anywhere that I wanted to. I'm trying to see if there's another way. So even here, when I was brainstorming the schedule, if you see at the bottom,
right?
I don't know how clear it is, but like Friday's blocked out. Saturday I release a vlog video. Wednesday I release a vlog video. So you can draw and you're not confined to the lines. So that would be another tip for me is like write it down, disconnect from technology when you're brainstorming, and like literally. I'll give you an example of what I write down sometimes.
Okay, what you got?
My journal entry from the other day. It's just like I document the time. So this was on the 20th of October, 11:11 a.m. Just got to WeWork at Galleria, which is where I am now. Saphir's meeting up with me here. We'll catch up and get a working session in. Looking forward to a productive day. And then I may book a room later for a podcast interview. I could probably do it from the phone booth possibly, which is like the little booth that I'm talking to you from now. Pretty cool spot for inspiration and to draw on the energy of others working here. So I was just documenting because I'm trying this place out and I wanted to write down that, hey, I'm liking the vibe. The people here are cool. The free coffee. Even if I have to wait to reward myself with the coffee, I like the coffee. So that's my tip is get a sketch pad with no lines so you're not confined to the lines. You can draw pictures and draw process flow, turn it sideways, whatever you want to do, and really just spend some time, maybe every day or every few days, and just take 5 minutes and like write down what you're thinking and like how can things get better? Because so many times you're stuck right in the process. Like this is how I've always done it. This is how it works. But yesterday I took the step back and I made the conscious decision of I don't want any appointments on Friday, so I can start doing more fun stuff.
And that's true because a lot of people don't have that mental alone space because of technology.
They're always busy.
Right. One of the reasons I took off the social apps on my phone. But yeah, 100% right.
Exactly. Awesome.
Ready for mine?
You want to do one more tip?
I'll do one more, and then if you don't mind, a quick shout out to Squirrel afterwards.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So this one, I think, applies to about 95% of the people out there that hate their email. All right. So I've actually broken the code to having a 0 inbox.
Dang. You have a rule to delete everything or what?
That would be nice, right?
Straight to trash.
All right, so this will work really great for people in the corporate world. What you need to do is I've noticed a lot of people have 10, 20, 30 folders in their Outlook, and they have one for a certain person, they have one for a particular project. And as scary as this sounds, I deleted all those categories. And I came down to just 2 folders. Actually, 3, I'm sorry. Folder number 1, you need to label it in capital letters called To Do Today. Folder number 2 is just To Do in just normal first letter capital and the rest lowercase, just like you normally write. And then the 3rd folder is historical. Okay, so you have 150 emails in your inbox right now. You have to take the time to start at the top of your list. All right, can I do this? Is this important that I need action? No action? Historical. Next one. Is this important? Does it need action? Yes. Does it have to be done today? No. Goes into to do. Next one. Is this important? Does it need action? Yes. Does it need to be done today? Yes. Goes into to do today. When you bring it into your to do today, you need to mark it as unread so that it flags it as 1. Right? So now you know you have one to do.
The things in your to do are the actual, like to do today are your actual inbox.
100%. So anything that and if it's just a quick reply, like a yes or no, or talk to you later, just knock it out. Yeah, there you go. We're on the same page. Knock it out.
Love it.
So especially for those emails that have big work processes, that's what you have to do. So once you get done to the end of it, you should have a zero inbox. You need to do this every single day. And then the next morning you go into your to-do, your regular to-do, you go through it and see if anything needs to be done today. You just bring it up to your today. Done deal.
You know, I have one more tip, and I'm not even doing this tip. This is a paradigm shift for me. But on my mastermind, I have like not a mastermind, but like weekly, they call it like a mastermind book club, but it's me and 3 people that are consistently on the call, and they all have 20 plus years of experience, like as a real estate agent, an owner of an inspection company, and a lender. And they're all doing very well financially. Like they're good. Their business is awesome. Like they're making crazy money and they're fulfilled. They contribute, all that. So I love to be around these people. We just had a call this morning that went 30 minutes over because we were enjoying it so much. But the lady who's the lender on the call, or the loan officer, very successful again, she's like in her 40s and said she could basically retire, and she's got 2 kids. Like she could retire today if she wanted to and live a comfortable life. And she said that, believe it or not, you can delegate your email and your texts to your assistant. So she says she has an assistant in her office who literally grabs her phone from her, texts clients, replies to people. Like maybe if she needs an answer from her, she'll say, hey, so-and-so texted this. What should I say back? Okay. And so it's crazy. Like half the time I know that now. So I'm like, did she really text me, or was that her assistant? Like, like, did she send me this email, or was it her assistant? And you really don't know. Yeah. And so that's another way of getting to that next level of really even eliminating the email, because a lot of things your assistant can determine. This is something that the assistant can answer. This is something that's spam, or this is something that needs Chris's attention. Yeah. Send it to today. Right.
I'm sure that's at a stage when you've met the individual, you trust them.
Yes.
And maybe to start off would be an in-person relationship that you work with them at an office on location.
Absolutely. Because I have my assistant doing that on my podcast booking side. She's sending emails as me. Hey, it'd be great to do a podcast swap. I'd love to get on your show. You can come on mine. And she's sending that from my name, and she'll let me know when someone replies and I pick up the conversation. But she proposed to do that with real estate too, but I didn't feel comfortable. I was like, there's a lot of confidential stuff, important documents. Like I want to make sure you don't accidentally read an email and you don't tell me. And then I think I read it because it's marked as read and I never replied to it and it's time sensitive. That's my only fear. But yeah, man, so many good nuggets. I can't even name all the different tips, and I'm sure the audience is just like blown away and like writing little notes on what they're going to apply today.
Yeah, I hope we gave some value today.
Dude,
man. We
did. And your squirrel card, I want to give you a second to shout that out because that's a huge tool. And also if you could read that testimonial, but go ahead and let us know, where can you find the squirrel card and learn more about you?
Yeah, so the squirrel card is at simplysquirrel.com. So just the word Simply Squirrel. And there's actually 2 R's and only 1 L in squirrel. Trust me, I had a lot of trouble spelling squirrel even after starting this business.
You forget. Like I haven't spelled squirrel. Like you don't really spell that much, right?
Yeah, especially nowadays, man. So yeah, it's you can get the latest product I have has been by far the most popular, and the reason I got this testimonial that I keep on my wall. It's just a desk pad, goes like this, sits on your desk, and it's got like, I think it was like 50 pages worth of pages on it. But so check this out. So I'm going to read this real quick. So I get this email from a repeat customer, right? And I have my automated Shopify that just sends out an email the moment they buy something, and they just boom, shoot out an email. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like to see you come back and whatnot. And then he replied back, I guess, thinking it was me. Like, you think your counterpart over there.
A lot of old people sometimes think that my MailChimp email blast is like just for them.
Yeah. And which is fine.
It works.
Yeah, you want them to feel comfortable. So he says, thank you for your product. A short story of the need of your product. 2 years ago, my wife suffered a traumatic brain injury secondary to sepsis and cardiac arrest. She recovered with a poor prognosis. We spent several months doing rehab. She did amazing and is in great shape with the exception of some short-term memory loss. She has some difficulty as to what to do on the next day, and I have looked and mulled over and tried many products of your type None would have been successful until yours came along. My wife and I are both using them, and the fact that she has to think about what she has to do and then rate how long it has to take it and then record it is amazing. And I'm hoping that you stay in production for many years to come. Thank you for your thought that went into this product. And I was just like,
that's awesome,
blown away from it. Like,
you said that to the mastermind group text, and everyone's like, man, that's awesome. You're making impact. Like, way to go.
But the thing is, like, that's I told amazing. The group, the impact didn't even originate with me. Even though I'm the one that created this, it originated with the mastermind group, because It was the mastermind group that
pushed you to create this.
Like I like to say, now that I have a squirrel thing, put the acorn into the ground and an oak tree came from it, right? So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. But it's just a testament to the fact of like being around the right people. You know, they're going to motivate you to do the right thing. You are an average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. If your friends are like, oh, come on, man, like it's just one hit and now you're like doing drugs or whatever and things like that versus – and I'm not saying this bad or not, but it's like, I have plenty of pothead friends that I had to cut out of my life because that's all they wanted to do every week. Versus our group, man, it's like, hey, you should create this product, man. People need this. From that moment to what you've created to monetizing it to now having that review, like
it's crazy. And I think you need to create a product on your processes on automation. That's just so people.
I know, man. I'm up next.
Yeah, I need to bug him so he does that. Man, I really enjoyed this podcast, man. It was awesome. Felt like a little mastermind meeting. It was pretty cool, man.
It really did. I learned some new nuggets too. I knew some of the tips that you shared in the meetings before, but like I learned some new ones here today too.
Awesome. Glad you did, brother. I got some from you as well, too. I'm going to have to go get me a blank notepad now just to have an open space to clear out my head.
Yeah, man. Just write some stuff. Draw some pictures. But,
well, my pictures are going to suck. But
mine, too. But at least you give yourself space to have fun and be creative. You know, that's what I'm trying to do more now, too. But again, man, great talking with you, Lou. Thank you for sharing your story and your squirrel card and productivity tips. This was really fun, and I look forward to hopefully in a couple of weeks here doing another mastermind group here in town.
Yeah, man. I don't know how you feel or the group feels. Maybe we should record one for your podcast. I think it'd be pretty helpful for people. I mean, you know, we're all about, you know, we just
talked about stuff like we just did.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I just got to discuss it with the group, make sure everyone's okay with it, and we'll go from there. You know, because we do share some pretty intimate numbers and you know specific business items sometimes. So it may or may not fly, but maybe one day it'll happen.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks once again, and great having you on the show.
All right, brother. Take care.
You too, bro.
All right.